Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. In case you don't know, my name's Chad, and take a dive in world sports. This is my NHL first update video of the season after making my predictions. Unfortunately, this is going to be a kind of a longer video than normal. This is going to be a two-parter, and this is going the first part here. I'm going to kind of discuss about half the teams in the relative position and what's going good for them, what's not. So this is going to be kind of your bottom dwellers right now for the league. So be mindful of that one. So let's kind of go ahead and dive right into probably one of the most franchises in trouble. You already know that the Arizona Coyotes have reverted back to their Kachina, as you can see behind me. But Glendale's not renewing their lease beyond this season. So it's unclear where they're trying to go. Rumors they're trying to get one built in Tempe, Arizona, which is on the other side of that Phoenix metro area. But that's not going to be ready anytime soon. So right now, their home ice after this is still up in the air. And I think it's affecting them on the ice. Just 2 wins so far this season. So they're not doing very good. Maybe they're just tanking to get top prospect coming up, and Shane Wright from the lottery. But that's just another question upon itself. Another team also performing very poorly is Chicago. We all know the incident with the Blackhawks during their Stanley Cup run that was investigated because of pretty much a sexual predator victimizing a member of the Blackhawks team during their Stanley Cup run, which now caused Scotty Bowman to resign as general manager. It's also affected Quenneville, who's now the current coach of the current coach of the Florida Panthers, also resign. And then the Blackhawks being fined and all that, so you have all that negativity over them. And Colton could not get this team to move forward or get this group of players to perform what they're supposed to be. Because when you got stars like Kane and Taves, Jonathan Taves came back, you expect a little bit more. Yeah, of course, Duncan Keith got traded off, be closer to home. They bring in Jones to kind of help replace that, and they have not really done much since Colton has been let go, and the interim coach, Derek King, has revitalized them somewhat. They are starting to play a little bit harder. They've been winning recently. Only got 4 wins, and most of those came recently because right now they're on a 3-game winning streak. Maybe this is just the spark the Blackhawks need to move forward. Only time will tell. Next will be the Montreal Canadiens. Now, with this team, as I look over here, they also only have 4 wins. Their highlight is Mark Price. Of course, the Hughes netminder had a great season last year. Unfortunately, with Mark Price, he's one of these players that goes up and down every other year. So last year he was good. This year, unfortunately, I think he's going to be not as good. So So they scored fewer goals almost than any other team in the league, a little over 2 per game. Ranks them 31st in the total league. Their most productive player is Nick Suzuki, who has 14 points in 17 games, which, is pretty outstanding. His 4 goals are tied for the top spot for the club. Unfortunately, it's just not enough for Montreal. They sent some of their players back down to their AHL affiliate, Laval, through trying to find their game, basically, and trying to see, get the prestige back into that Canadiens franchise. Next is the Seattle Kraken, the brand new Seattle Kraken. Like I said, they started their season, first season. They've retired their number 32 because they're their 32nd franchise. 30,000 fans that bought season tickets almost instantaneously when they came up. And this team was built on defense. They got Phil Grubauer as now their netminder. So this team is built on defense and then offense second. But that really hasn't in that case, this is definitely not the Golden Knights. It's almost seems similar. And I can't speak to the other massive wave of expansion franchises like the Blue Jackets, Thrashers, Wild, Sharks, Senators. Has the same eerie feel, but they have a ravenous fan base that will probably be behind them for a very long time. So it's just a matter of time before they start going the right direction. Once again, there's another team with only 4 wins. But there's some upside with Seattle, so only time we could tell if they can continue that particular matchup. So, plus I love the name. Next on the list is Ottawa. The Senators right now are just kind of basically where I think a lot of people put them. Once again, they've only had so far 4 wins of the season. They started off pretty good. Brady Tkachuk signed a long-term deal with them. And it'd always be a great start. And then, unfortunately, just disasters. I mean, they've in past 11 games, have been 2-9-1. Haven't been really out. They've had 10 players and assistant out due to protocols before they finally. Right now, the NHL has pretty much shut them down until the 20th of November. So then and not to mention they're one of their best defensemen, Artem Zub, is out to injury. So Ottawa right now has a lot of issues going on. So hopefully, that time away, and they get them back themselves into it, could flush some of that issues off and actually start performing well on the ice. Next is the Vancouver Canucks. This is one of these teams that I think are kind of that Pacific Division. The whole Pacific Division is kind of it's Vegas and then everyone else. So it's kind of hard to figure out who's going to be the next pecking order. Right now, Vancouver's not playing very well. I figured they would do at least decent and enough to get a playoff spot at the end of the year. Like I said, this is on the beginning of the season, so you got plenty of hockey still left to play. They don't get off to a good start. For the Canucks, they've been outscored in that first period 18-8. So you got to come back from behind to start, putting up points. You're going to put a lot of pressure on yourself to try to make scoring plays, which means you can make more mistakes, which leads to more points being scored in your own net. And it's just a vicious cycle. So has 5 wins this season, so they're doing a little better than the bottom. The other past 4 teams. So I mean, it's one of these sometimes being down early really affects you, but some teams thrive on that. They thrive to be the underdog and come up. So only time will tell. At least this year, they're not going to play Montreal Canadiens 7 times and lose out to the playoffs position. So only time will tell. 26 one teams I hate to talk about. Detroit Red Wings. This is back to the old Norris Division days when the Blackhawks and Red Wings used to battle each other quite heavily. Yes, I'm that old to remember those division setups. I miss that. But Detroit's one of these teams that are been a slow build. It's not one of these quick turnarounds. They are looking for the long haul, long substantial stain to be in the postseason and making cup runs and maybe even hosted the cup in Detroit once again. So they got a lot of youth. The forefront, they have 19-year-old Lucas Raymond, and then right behind them a 20-year-old Moritz Seider. Right now they're sitting 1-2 in the NHL rookie scoring. So let you know these guys are pretty good. And with their goaltender, they have Alex. And I'm sure I'm going to butcher his name. Nino Jokic. He has one of the best save percentage for a rookie, almost a 92% save percentage. And then they just got, Dylan Larkin, who has 13 points, 13 games. Philippe Hornick, still trying to find his form. And then you have Tyler Bertuzzi, who has 17 points in 14 games. So this is a very young, talented team that I'm sure could turn some heads. I think maybe the lack of some veteran presence may hamper them slightly. They might they could sneak in the playoffs and they could make it next year. So this is definitely a team on the rise. So only time to kind of tell how this one goes. Now Detroit already has 8 wins already, and I think they're currently the playoffs started now, which is way too early to be talking about that. They'll be like the number 2 wild card team. So things are looking up for Detroit. So I'm sure that that being said, things are kind of come along. Next is Buffalo Sabres. This is definitely an interesting case with this franchise. Because they're looking to try to get a new arena. They're not really liking their current digs. They want something a little bit more modern, keep them in place. And they've Jack Eichel, who didn't pass his physical, was removed as a captain, but now he has his injury he wants to take care of. He's now been traded to Vegas, he's going to do his surgery, so he'll probably come back later on and help push Vegas for their run. But it's weird how before that trade, Buffalo was 5-1-1, but since trading their franchise player, they've gone 1-5-1. Now with that, when their franchise player gone, they also cut his huge salary, so they don't have that huge hit on them. So they can start really possibly looking at some other stars to try and trade for to bring in, because they got some cap room. But right now they're not doing that well. Right now they're 7-6-2, so they're right there in the middle of the road. So it's only time to tell how this one kind of looks in going through. But when you finally get rid of Eichel, then you bring in Alex Tuch and Peyton Krebs to kind of take his place. So then you lose 1 star, you bring up 2 stars from your organization. So they're pretty much, the GM, Kevin Adams, already said they're in the build, and their stats are in the middle of the road across the board. The only time will tell with Buffalo how they're going, but they're definitely wrapping this fan base, and they'll expect more. The Dallas Stars. This is a franchise definitely made some noise when they moved down to Dallas and made those cup runs. Actually made it back a couple of years ago. So far, they're 6-6-2 in the season this far, right smack dab in the middle of the Central Division. But during the first month of the season, they didn't win a game in the regular season or regulation time, should I say. Every win they've had that first month was in the overtime or shootout. So that's kind of weird how things kind of go. But post regulation time frame, they're 4-1. So if Dallas takes it to overtime and shootouts, they're more likely than not going to win. But this is not something that they want to do, because that's going to wear and tear your team down. So hopefully Dallas can find ways to win within the 3 periods and see how things kind of go from there. Next on the list is the New Jersey Devils. Devil. So now the rookie Dawson Mercer's on the rise, replacing the injuries to Jack Hughes. Jonathan Bernier is having a revitalized season in net for the injured Mackenzie Blackwood. You got Andreas Johnson, looks like a 20-goal scorer again. Nico Heitcher is finding confidence. And then there's always something to say, the addition of Dougie Hamilton. But, he's got to maintain his health. So, things are kind of trending in the right direction for New Jersey. And right now, currently, they have, they're 7-4-3, pretty much in the middle of that Metropolitan Division. So things are looking good for them. Let's just see how they can, maintain that. Next is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Right now, it's kind of a downside for this franchise and this fan base. But there's been a lot of things kind of going wrong with them. As right now, they're 5-6-4. But you also got to think, large portions of their players have not played together They've been injuries upon injuries that have derailed uh, Pittsburgh for quite a bit. You got to think Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin, Malkin, Chris Letang, Brian Russ, Jeff Carter, have all missed significant time, and you have those star players not on the ice. You're expecting younger guys to step up in their roles, and some of them may not be ready quite yet, but they're getting great experience. And it's early in the season, so I'm sure once these guys get fully healthy and start gelling, working together, especially when you got Malkin and Crosby and Letang all working together, this team is almost unstoppable. But then you also got to think, Mike Sullivan has been behind the coach due to protocols on his end, so been looking at that leadership role behind the bench. But it's just a matter of time. Once those players come back, this team should start finding its way moving forward. Next on the docket, the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is one of these franchises that could, in there. They got their star player Linane. Right now they're 8-5 on the season, so they tend to go past regulation time, so they make sure they get done with that 60 minutes. But, they've earned the most victories, boast the third highest winning percentage, and when trailing after two periods. Is one of these teams, you got to close them out, and if you don't, they'll find a way. Now, they get the Winnipeg Jets, and this is just another team that's doing very well. Right now they're sitting on top of the Central with 9-3-3. And, they have a talented offensive team. They're averaging almost 3.25 goals per game. But unfortunately, their penalty kill is one of the worst in the league. They only kill about 66% of their penalties. But, they've learned to not take as many penalties because of that. So they're not as aggressive or don't get caught. But, that's just something that they're going to have to they just play with their strengths. The Jets will still be a quality team. Should be in the postseason at the end of the year. Next is their one of their rivals in the Central, the Nashville Predators. The Preds right now are third in the Central at 9-6-1, so another quality team for Smashville. And they're still kind of a slow build, but they haven't got much hype. But they are streaking. They started off hot. Going 8-1-1. Match Duchesne and Michael Granlund are the top 20 in the league in scoring. Jussi Saros has a seventh best save percentage, at 92.5. And Roman Josi, it's Roman Josi. and Duchesne has said last week there's a different vibe to his Preds this season. And it's time for him to pick up on that. So right now, Nashville's doing very well. As long as they get a very good goaltending, this team's very hard to stop. Because it'll be hard to score. If you don't score, you're going to find yourself seeing the scoreboard not in your favor. So the Predators are doing quite well. We'll see how this progresses throughout the season. Next is the Philadelphia Flyers. Currently, they are 8-4-2, and right in the middle of that Metropolitan Division. Very, very tough division that one is. Because I can see all 8 of those teams making the playoffs, but unfortunately you got give 3 to the other division. So that division is just stacked, and they're going to beat the piss out of each other. Especially the Flyers and Penguins. That's just one of those matchups you just love to watch because the hate, you can see it on the ice. But for the Flyers, they have one of the best road records in the National Hockey League right now, being 4-2-1. So you definitely don't want to bring them into your house. You want to go to theirs, and I mean, when they go into Raleigh, Washington, Edmonton, and knock them off, these are considered, some of the best teams in the league, and they go to their house and take their keys and lock them out of their own house. I mean, that's just something you got to handle. So this is going to be a pesky team throughout the season, and it's only a matter of time to see how this actually plays out. Now, one of the rivals right now, I think is probably really underperforming in the Met, is the New York Islanders, who are now 5-6-2. So they're not quite performing where they should be, but they kind of do like big swings throughout the season. Oh, boy. But this is kind of like a team by committee. There's not like true superstars really leading the New York Islanders. This is a team effort right now. It's just trying to get that team aspect going once again. You had players like Ryan Pollock, who had averages about 8 blocks a game. Noah Dobson and Scott Mayfield, who averaging are all in the top 20 also in shot blocks. So they're a very defensive-minded team, and it's just trying to find the right way to kind of help turn those blocks into scoring opportunities and put more points on the board for more W's. It's just a matter of time. The New York Islanders had an amazing run last year in the playoffs, and I kind of expect them to make the postseason again. It's just, like I said, it's still early in the season, so a lot of hockey still have to play. Well, that's all the time I'm going to have right now for this video. Like I said, this is going to be a two-parter, so kind of I'll get that second part to you really quickly. So you probably see 2 videos posted today dealing with the NHL. So when you got 32 teams, and you got to take a little bit of time talking about each one, so you're going to spend some time. As the season progresses, I probably won't spend as much time talking about everyone. So hopefully these videos get shorter as the season progresses. But hey, check out, stay tuned for the second part of this video. Go ahead, leave a comment down below, see which teams that I mentioned, were you looking for them? Do you hoping some of these teams actually make a run for the playoffs? I mean, I might be a little biased, but I'm kind of hoping these, Chicago does. And while you're there, go ahead, smash that thumbs up for me, give me a like. You can also subscribe. Once you subscribe, you hit that bell notification, let you know next time I post a video. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.